and they're sharing their vision of the future of their organization with you. And you become their trusted advisor, A, because of the consistency of delivery as a desired supplier, and B, because of your intimate knowledge of the customer. So this is the shift from what I call content. So down here you need content, but as you move to the strategic level relationship, you need context. And we were talking last night about, do I hire technology-focused salespeople, or do I hire business-focused salespeople? And the answer is, if you want to stay down as a supplier, then you need technical salespeople. You need people who are experts in your content. If you want to build a strategic relationship with your customer, you need business people as salespeople who utilize technical resources as part of the equation. But my experience is that technical resources have difficulty operating at these strategic levels because they're so filled with content. That's all they want to talk about. And they have difficulty diving into context. The highest level of relationship is the strategic alliance. This is where you have created so much compelling value for your customer that they're willing to enter a formal relationship with your firm. And that means they may entirely outsource whatever it is you do. They're going to get out of that business altogether and completely hand over the reins to your business and work with you as a partner. So these are the levels, and it really is a dance with your sales team where, as a stranger, what matters most when you're a stranger is your brand. So the company's image matters most. When you're a supplier, or to become a supplier, what matters most is the individual. The salesperson sitting across from me. Do I know him or her? Do I trust them? Do I feel comfortable with them? The individual. Desired supplier, it's the company. The company has to deliver consistently for you to be a desired supplier. Trusted advisor is the individual. Don is my trusted advisor. I don't call your company, I call Don, and I want to talk to Don. And you guys know in your round tables the kind of intimate discussion that takes place with a trusted advisor. I'm not going to do that with anybody, I'm going to do that with Don. Strategic ally is the company. So it's company, individual, company, individual, company. The enterprise life cycle. This is now the company, looking at the company and how it matures. Every company starts with an entrepreneur, with an idea. Even a company as big as Google, somebody had an idea. And so this is the entrepreneurial phase, the newborn baby. 80% of these companies die within the first 5 years. The next phase, if they're successful, they get to the performing phase. The performing phase, they have figured out what their value proposition is. And people are buying it and paying them for it. In the entrepreneurial phase, these companies die from starvation. They just can't get the cash flow in quick enough, and so they collapse. The performing enterprise dies from indigestion. They have figured out a value proposition that the market wants, and they've got a few people who are A players who can deliver this. But as they become successful, as there's more demand, they get stretched too thin. And they just cannot hire the right resources. They're running so fast they can't train them, so they collapse from being stretched too thin. To be successful, you have to become systematic. You have to put in systems and processes, talking about the algorithm level, where you can have now cheap labor or automation, but you definitely have consistency, and consistency creates trust. So now you can scale without breaking your promises. The problem with the systematic enterprise is it becomes internally focused. It gets completely engaged in its systems and processes, and it begins to ignore the customer. We're living in a changing world, and the customer's perception of value begins to change, and the systematic enterprise does not detect those shifts in the perception of value. So they become irrelevant. In order to stay relevant, they have to be adaptive. They have to become adaptive and detect how value, the perception of value is shifting, and make changes themselves to remain relevant. Problem with the adaptive enterprise is they're reactive, and they may not react quickly enough. So to really be successful in the age of reformation, your firm has to become preemptive. And it becomes preemptive, and this is going back to the question that, sorry, I forgot the name here? Greg had asked. We don't want customers to tell us what to do. What we want is insight into what they do, how they do it, what their frustrations are, so that we can now become preemptive. And I think Google and Apple are great examples of companies who understand their customers so well, they can anticipate what they're going to need next and bring to the market value that no one else has ever thought of. And it's rooted in insight, in customer insight. So this is the preemptive enterprise. What we do here, this is the strategic model that I want to get across. In an age of reformation, this is the model. We combine the enterprise lifecycle with the relationship lifecycle, creates 4 quadrants. We want to be in the winner's quadrant. The winner's quadrant says this: we have a sales engine that consistently picks right fit customers. The problem with the entrepreneurial enterprise is it is so starved for cash that anybody with a wallet will do. You're going to pay me, you're a customer. And we will do anything for that money just to stay alive. So the entrepreneurial firm begins to have a customer base that is completely illogical. It doesn't make any sense whatsoever. And it's impossible to please the customer base because they're all over the place. The preemptive enterprise is very different. It has figured out what an ideal customer looks like and what right fit customers are. And it only invests in right fit customers. And that's how it creates value. And it then broadcasts that value to everybody else. And they can decide if that value is compelling to them. So it really is a partnership with their customers. Then they have this sales engine that consistently brings in these right fit customers and moves them up into strategic level relationships. When they have these strategic level relationships, they're gathering insights about these customers that their competitors can never gather, because their competitors don't have this closeness, this intimacy. So this intimacy is giving me insights that I'm bringing back to you as the chief executive. And you're taking these insights to navigate the ship. So in the winner's quadrant, the focus is not product. It's not service. It's not your offering. In the winner's quadrant, the focus is on strategic moves, constantly making the right strategic moves. And these are not bets. We're not guessing. We're collaborating with our best customers, and they're sharing with us insights that make us know, wow, if I bring this to this organization, they're going to pay me for it, because I understand the value in their economic equation. Here, we have the losers. We have an expensive cost model, and we have customers who don't want to pay us. They resent our profitability. They're constantly pushing down our price, and we've got an expensive infrastructure. We're going to lose. These are interesting, called the legends. Most technology companies who have any worth end up in the legends quadrant. It says, we are doing something that the market loves, and we can build strategic relationships with our customers. But we have built our company around our technology. And when the market changes and that technology becomes irrelevant, we don't know where to go. And so it's going to be remember those days, remember when, and we become a legend. We become a story of the past. The next quadrant I call the myths. These are large corporations with deep pockets that have what I call captured customers. They have fenced in their customers. And what they don't realize is their customers hate them. Their customers would love to leave. There's just no other choice. And I'll use my telco provider as an example. I don't particularly like my telco provider, but I don't have a choice because they'll come out with these cool gadgets, and because I want the gadget, I'll agree to sign on for 3 years, and then I'm locked in for 3 years. If it was month to month, I don't know if I would be with my telco provider. I'd probably be with somebody else. So we really don't know the true value that that provider is creating. They've created a fence around themselves. So these I call the myths. We want to be in the winner's quadrant. This is the quadrant of deception. Nobody will speak truth to power. So they're so powerful, the CEO is so powerful, nobody's going to tell that CEO, we're garbage. This is the quadrant of poverty, the quadrant of seduction. We're seduced by our technology, we're seduced by the profitability that we're making, and profit is not an indicator of the future. Profit is an indicator of the past. Profit says you did something last quarter or last year that was meaningful. No guarantee for tomorrow. And finally, this is the quadrant of prosperity. So to be in this quadrant, you need to hand-pick your strategic customers. And you need to build and invest in strategic relationships with them in such a way that you access knowledge about them that none of your competitors have. And you can then detect what their emerging needs are, and you can build value around their emerging needs. And you need to cooperate with your sales force to do that.